The message that changed everything. Jenna Brooks had always been the life of every room she entered. With her infectious laugh and quick wit, she could turn even the dullest marketing meeting into an entertaining experience. Working at Pinnacle Technologies in downtown Chicago, she had built a reputation as the go-to person for creative campaigns and spontaneous ideas. But on that particular Tuesday morning in October, her spontaneity was about to get her into the biggest mess of her professional life. She sat at her desk, balancing a grande caramel latte in one hand while scrolling through her phone with the other. Her best friend Riley had just texted asking about the new CEO who had taken over 3 months ago. Dominic Hart was a legend in the tech industry, known for turning struggling companies into powerhouses. He was also known for being brutally demanding and emotionally distant. The fatal mistake. Jenna hit the voice message button. Thinking she was responding privately to Riley, her words flowed freely as she spoke in a hushed but animated tone. Listen, this Dominic Hart guy is absolutely gorgeous. Like seriously, he looks like he walks straight out of a luxury watch commercial. Those sharp cheekbones, that intense stare, the way he fills out a suit. But here's the problem. He has the personality of a glacier. Gorgeous to look at, but freezing cold and completely unapproachable. Honestly, it is such a waste of good looks. She hit send with a satisfied smile, took a sip of her latte, and turned back to her computer. 3 seconds later, her phone erupted with notification sounds. Her stomach dropped as she looked at the screen. The message had gone to the company-wide group chat. All 350 employees, including Dominic Hart himself, now had access to her candid assessment of their CEO. The office erupts. The marketing floor went silent first. Then came the whispers, followed by poorly suppressed laughter. Tessa Kim, the receptionist who sat near the elevator bank, covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes wide with shock. A junior analyst nearly choked on his coffee. Within minutes, the message had been forwarded, screenshotted, and was spreading through the building like wildfire. Jenna's phone showed the dreaded notification. Dominic Hart listened to your voice message. Her face lost all color. She gripped the edge of her desk, feeling dizzy. This cannot be happening. This is not real. Maybe I am having a nightmare and I will wake up any second now. But the nightmare was very real. Her computer pinged with a direct message from Dominic's executive assistant. Mr. Hart, request your presence in his office immediately. Jenna felt her legs turn to jelly as she stood up. The walk to the executive floor felt like a death march. Every step echoed in her ears. Colleagues peeked over their cubicles, offering sympathetic looks or barely concealed amusement. The unexpected turned. The executive suite was located on the top floor. With floor-to-ceiling windows offering a breathtaking view of Lake Michigan, Dominic's office took up the entire corner, a statement of power and success. His assistant gestured for Jenna to enter, her expression carefully neutral. Dominic stood with his back to the door, hands clasped behind him as he gazed out at the city skyline. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with dark hair styled perfectly and shoulders that did justice to his custom-tailored navy suit. When he turned around, Jenna felt her breath catch despite her terror. His eyes were a striking shade of gray, cold and assessing. Miss Brooks. His voice was deep and measured, carrying an authority that made her want to either run or apologize profusely. Please, sit down. Jenna sank into the leather chair across from his massive desk, her hands twisting in her lap. Mr. Hart, I am so incredibly sorry. That message was meant for my friend. It was completely inappropriate and unprofessional. I take full responsibility. Dominic walked slowly around his desk, leaning against it as he studied her. The silence stretched uncomfortably. He crossed his arms, and Jenna noticed how the gesture made his biceps strain against the fabric of his shirt. Stop it, she scolded herself. This is not the time. An unusual proposition, so you think I look like I walked out of a luxury watch commercial. There was the faintest hint of amusement in his voice, though his expression remained unreadable. That is an interesting comparison. Jenna wanted the floor to swallow her whole. I also mentioned you have the personality of a glacier, so it balances out. The corner of his mouth twitched. It might have been the beginning of a smile, but it vanished so quickly that Jenna wondered if she had imagined it. "Miss Brooks, I have several options here. I could terminate your employment immediately. Your comment was unprofessional and could be considered workplace harassment." Jenna's heart sank. She loved this job. She loved her team. The thought of being fired over a stupid mistake made her want to cry, however. Dominic continued, walking back to his chair and sitting down with deliberate slowness. "I am going to propose something different. Starting tomorrow, you will work directly with me as my special assistant. You will shadow me in meetings, help prepare presentations, and assist with various projects." Jenna blinked, certain she had misheard. "I am sorry, what?" "The beginning of something new. You have a creative mind, Miss Brooks. Your campaign for the Henderson account last quarter increased their engagement by 47%. Your team speaks highly of your ability to think outside the box. I need someone with fresh perspectives. Not another yes person who is afraid to speak their mind. But I just insulted you to the entire company." Dominic leaned forward, his gray eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. "You were honest, brutally so. But honesty is rare in corporate environments. People tell me what they think I want to hear. You accidentally told 350 people exactly what you thought. That takes a certain kind of courage, even if it was unintentional." Jenna could not believe what she was hearing. "So this is not a punishment? Consider it an opportunity. You will learn how this company operates at the highest level. I will learn how to be less of a glacier." His eyes held a challenge. "Unless you would prefer the alternative, no." The word came out more forcefully than Jenna intended. Thank you. I accept." The whispers begin. As Jenna left his office, she felt like she was floating. She had not been fired. Instead, she had somehow landed the most prestigious position a mid-level employee could hope for. When she returned to her floor, dozens of eyes followed her. Tessa rushed over the moment Jenna sat down. "What happened? Did he scream? Did he threaten to sue? Are you fired?" Jenna shook her head, still processing everything. "He made me his special assistant." Riley, who had arrived after hearing about the disaster, grabbed Jenna's arm. "He did what?" "Girl! That is either the best thing that has ever happened to you, or you are about to experience corporate hell." Over the next few days, Jenna discovered that working directly with Dominic Hart was unlike anything she had experienced. He was demanding, yes, but also brilliant. He noticed details others missed. He asked for her opinion on everything from marketing strategies to office layout. And slowly, very slowly, she began to see cracks in his icy exterior. Unexpected discoveries during a late-night session preparing for an investor presentation. Dominic ordered Chinese takeout for both of them. As they ate in his office, surrounded by financial reports and strategy documents, Jenna noticed a photo frame turned face down on his desk. "May I ask you something personal?" She ventured, emboldened by exhaustion and MSG. Dominic looked up from his noodles, one eyebrow raised. "That depends on the question. Why did you really give me this position? You could have fired me and hired someone more qualified." He set down his chopsticks and was quiet for a long moment. "When I listened to your message, you know what struck me? Not the comment about my looks. It was what you said about my personality. You called me a glacier." "You were right." Jenna felt her heart twist at the vulnerability in his admission. "I built these walls intentionally," continued. "After some difficult experiences, I decided it was safer to keep everyone at a distance. But your message reminded me that being effective as a leader does not mean being cold. You have something I lost somewhere along the way. The ability to connect with people genuinely. The dynamic shifts from that night forward. Something shifted between them. The professional relationship remained intact, but underneath it ran an undercurrent of something else. Something neither of them wanted to acknowledge, but could not quite ignore." Dominic started appearing at her desk at random times with questions that could have been sent via email. Jenna found excuses to stop by his office with updates that could have waited until their scheduled meetings. Their colleagues noticed. The whispers grew louder. During a company-wide meeting, when Dominic presented a new initiative, Jenna caught him looking at her as he spoke. Not just glancing, but really looking, as if seeking her approval. She smiled encouragingly, and for a brief moment, he smiled back. A real smile that transformed his entire face. Tessa cornered Jenna after the meeting. "Okay, what is going on between you two?" That was not a boss looking at an employee. That was something else entirely. "Nothing is going on," Jenna protested, but her flushed cheeks betrayed her. "We are just working together." Riley was more direct when they met for coffee that weekend. "Jenna, you like him? Admit it. You have gone from thinking he is a gorgeous glacier to actually melting that." Iced. Jenna stirred her latte, unable to deny it. "What if I do?" "It does not matter. He is my boss. It would be completely inappropriate. Plus, he has made it clear he keeps his personal and professional lives completely separate." The unexpected invitation Monday morning brought a surprise. Dominic asked Jenna to accompany him to a tech conference in San Francisco. "We will be presenting the new product line," he explained during their morning briefing. "I want your perspective on the marketing angle. We leave Wednesday, return Friday." Jenna's stomach fluttered with excitement and nerves. A business trip. 3 days. With Dominic Hart, this was either going to be incredibly productive or incredibly complicated. Riley's reaction was predictable. "Oh, honey, you are in trouble. Business trips are where things happen. Feelings surface. Boundaries blur. You need to be careful." But Jenna could not help the anticipation building inside her. Maybe Riley was right. Maybe this trip would change everything. Or maybe she was reading too much into professional courtesy and friendly working relationship. Either way, as Wednesday approached, Jenna found herself preparing not just presentations and reports, but also carefully selecting outfits that walked the line between professional and attractive. She told herself it was about making a good impression at the conference. Deep down, she knew it was about something else entirely. The accidental voice message had set something in motion. Neither Jenna nor Dominic fully understood where it would lead, but as they prepared for San Francisco, both felt the unmistakable pull of possibility. The flight to San Francisco felt different from any business trip Jenna had taken before. Dominic had booked first-class tickets, and as they settled into their spacious seats, Jenna noticed how he seemed more relaxed away from the office. He loosened his tie slightly, and actually accepted a glass of wine when the flight attendant offered. "You seem different outside the office," Jenna observed as they reviewed presentation notes on her tablet. Dominic glanced at her, something unreadable flickering in his gray eyes. "Do I? Maybe because I am not performing the role of intimidating CEO every second. It gets exhausting." Honestly, this admission surprised Jenna. She had never heard him acknowledge the weight of his position before. "So the glacier thing is just an act?" "Not entirely." He took a sip of his wine. "I learned early in my career that showing vulnerability gets interpreted as weakness. People respect strength, decisiveness, and confidence. Warmth gets you nowhere in boardrooms." Unexpected confessions as the plane cruised above the clouds. Their conversation drifted from business to personal territory. Dominic asked about her background, her family, her dreams beyond marketing campaigns. Jenna found herself opening up in ways she never had with a superior. "I actually wanted to be a writer," she confessed. "Stories, novels, maybe screenplays. But my parents convinced me to study something practical. Marketing was the compromise between creativity and stability." "Do you still write?" Dominic asked, genuine interest in his voice. "Sometimes. Late at night when I cannot sleep. Nothing serious, just little stories and observations. You should pursue it. Life is too short to abandon your passions completely." He paused, staring out the window at the clouds. "I wanted to be an architect. I loved designing spaces, creating something beautiful and functional. But after my father died, I had to take over the family business. The tech company he built was struggling, and I could not let it fail." Jenna saw the sadness in his expression. "Did you resent it? Having to give up your dreams?" "At first, yes. But over time, I found satisfaction in building something successful, in creating jobs and opportunities for others. Still, sometimes I wonder what buildings I might have designed." He turned back to her with a slight smile. We all make choices, Miss Brooks. The question is whether we let those choices define us or whether we find new ways to honor our original dreams. The conference. The conference venue was the Moscone Center. Packed with tech innovators, investors, and media, Jenna felt the buzz of excitement as they registered and picked up their credentials. Dominic was immediately recognized, and several industry leaders approached to shake his hand and exchange pleasantries. What impressed Jenna most was how he included her in every conversation. "This is Jenna Brooks, my special assistant, and the creative mind behind many of our recent successful campaigns." He introduced her with genuine respect, not as an afterthought, but as an equal partner. Their presentation was scheduled for the second day. It's giving them time to attend other sessions and network. During a panel discussion about innovation in user experience, Jenna whispered a comment to Dominic about the speaker's outdated approach. He chuckled softly, the sound sending an unexpected warmth through her chest. The evening that changed everything that evening. Dominic suggested they have dinner at a restaurant overlooking the bay. "It is not just business," he said, as they walked through the bustling streets of downtown San Francisco. "Consider it a thank you for all the extra work you have been putting in." The restaurant was elegant but not stuffy, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a spectacular view of the Golden Gate Bridge at sunset. They were seated at a corner table, a perfect balance of privacy and ambience. Over pan-seared salmon and risotto, their conversation flowed effortlessly. They debated everything from the future of artificial intelligence to their favorite childhood memories. Dominic told her about growing up in Boston, learning business from his father while trying to maintain some semblance of a normal childhood. "I was always the serious kid," he admitted. "While other children played, I was reading business journals and attending board meetings with my dad. He wanted me prepared, and after he died when I was 23, I understood why." Walls coming down, Jenna reached across the table, placing her hand on his without thinking. "I am sorry you had to grow up so fast." Dominic looked down at her hand on his, and for a moment neither of them moved. The touch felt electric, charged with something neither could name. Then slowly, he turned his hand over and intertwined his fingers with hers. "You have a gift for making people feel heard, Jenna. It is rare and valuable." He met her eyes, and the intensity there made her breath catch. "Since you started working with me, I have felt less alone in that office tower. Less like a machine programmed to maximize profits and more like a human being. You are human, Dominic." Jenna squeezed his hand gently. "You just forgot how to show it." They stayed like that for several heartbeats. Hands joined on the white tablecloth, the setting sun painting everything in shades of gold and amber. The moment felt suspended, perfect, and terrifying all at once. The almost kiss after dinner. They walked along the Embarcadero, the cool evening breeze coming off the bay. Jenna wrapped her blazer tighter around herself and without a word. Dominic removed his suit jacket and draped it over her shoulders. It smelled like his cologne, something woody and sophisticated. "Thank you," she murmured, pulling it closer. They found themselves at a quieter spot along the waterfront, away from the crowds. The lights of the city reflected on the dark water, creating a magical atmosphere. Dominic turned to face her, his expression serious but soft. "Jenna, I need to tell you something." He stepped closer, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. "When I first heard that voice message, I was not angry. I was intrigued. You saw through the facade everyone else accepts without question. I thought you were going to fire me," she whispered. "I could not fire you. You made me feel something I had not felt in years, curiosity, interest, the desire to actually know another person beyond their quarterly reports and productivity metrics." His hand came up to brush a strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingering against her cheek. Jenna's heart hammered so loudly she was certain he could hear it. The world seemed to narrow to just the two of them, the space between them charged with possibility. The interruption, Dominic leaned in slowly, giving her every opportunity to pull away. Jenna's eyes fluttered closed as she felt his breath against her lips. Just as their mouths were about to meet, his phone rang with an urgent tone he had set for emergency calls only. They jumped apart like teenagers caught by parents. Dominic pulled out his phone, frustration clear on his face as he saw the caller ID. "I am sorry, I have to take this. It is Greg Mitchell, our corporate lawyer. He would not call unless it was critical." Jenna nodded, trying to calm her racing pulse as Dominic stepped away to take the call. She watched his body language shift from relaxed to tense, his free hand running through his hair in obvious stress. When he returned 5 minutes later, the walls were back up. His expression had returned to the professional mask she recognized from the office. "We need to head back to the hotel. There is a situation that requires immediate attention." His voice was clipped, businesslike, as if the last 2 hours had not happened. The sudden distance back at the hotel, Dominic walked her to her room with barely a word. At her door, he finally spoke. "Get some rest. Tomorrow will be a long day with the presentation. I will see you at breakfast. Dominic." "What just happened back there?" Jenna gestured vaguely, trying to address the elephant neither wanted to name. He looked down at her, conflict written across his features. "What almost happened was a mistake. You work for me, Jenna. There are boundaries that exist for good reasons. I let the setting, the wine, the distance from the office cloud my judgment. It cannot happen again." The words felt like a physical blow. Jenna fought to keep her expression neutral, to maintain some dignity. "Of course you are right. Professional boundaries. Got it." She turned quickly and entered her room before he could see the tears threatening to spill. Once inside, she leaned against the door, Dominic's jacket still draped over her shoulders, and let the disappointment wash over her. The cold return the presentation the next day was a success, but the easy rapport between them had vanished. Dominic was polite but distant, treating her with the same professional courtesy he showed everyone else. The special connection they had built over the past weeks seemed to have evaporated overnight. On the flight home, Dominic worked on his laptop while Jenna pretended to read a book, neither acknowledging the tension between them. When they landed in Chicago, he arranged 4 separate cars to take them home. "Thank you for your assistance this week, Miss Brooks." He had gone back to using her last name, another wall erected between them. "Your insights were valuable for the presentation. Glad I could help." Mr. Hart, too, could play at this game of formal distance. Enter Cameron Wells, the following Monday. Jenna threw herself into work, determined to forget the almost kiss and the confusing feelings that came with it. That was when she noticed Cameron Wells, the new intern in the marketing department. He was fresh out of graduate school, with an easy smile and laid-back confidence that reminded her of California sunshine. Cameron made his interest clear from the start. He found excuses to stop by her desk, complimented her ideas in meetings, and asked if she wanted to grab coffee during breaks. Unlike Dominic with his complexity and walls, Cameron was straightforward and uncomplicated. Riley noticed immediately. "Okay, the intern is definitely into you. And he is cute in that wholesome, golden retriever kind of way." "He is nice," Jenna admitted. "And at least he is not emotionally unavailable and sending mixed signals. So you are going to use him to get over a certain CEO." "I am not using anyone. I am simply being open to possibilities that do not involve workplace drama and emotional whiplash." The jealousy ignites Jenna accepted Cameron's invitation to lunch, and they went to a trendy sandwich shop near the office. Cameron was charming and funny, sharing stories about his college adventures and asking about her work with genuine interest. When they returned to the office, laughing about something silly, Jenna felt lighter than she had in days. That lightness vanished when she saw Dominic standing near her desk, his expression thunderous. He watched Cameron touch her arm briefly before heading back to his cubicle, and something dangerous flashed in those gray eyes. "Miss Brooks, my office." Now, the command was sharp enough that nearby colleagues glanced up nervously. Jenna followed him to the executive floor, her earlier good mood evaporating. Once inside his office with the door closed, Dominic turned on her with barely controlled intensity. The confrontation fraternizing with interns, "Miss Brooks, is that how you spend your lunch hours now?" Jenna's temper flared at his accusatory tone. "I went to lunch with a colleague. Last I checked, that was not against company policy. He is an intern, barely out of school." Dominic's jaw clenched. "It looks unprofessional." "Unprofessional? Jenna stepped closer, her own anger rising. "You're really going to lecture me about professionalism? After what almost happened in San Francisco?" "That was different." "How?" "How is that different?" "Because you are the CEO, and you get to make the rules." "Because I have more to lose." The words burst out of Dominic with raw emotion. "Because if this goes wrong, if we cross that line, and it ends badly, you can move to another company and start fresh. I have built everything here. This company, this reputation, it is all I have. Truth emerges, so you are protecting yourself," Jenna said quietly. "You felt something real, something that scared you, and you ran." Dominic turned away, his hands gripping the edge of his desk. "You do not understand. I have been here. I opened myself up to someone once, and she destroyed me. Used my feelings to get ahead, and then left when a better opportunity came along. I swore I would never let anyone have that power over me again." Jenna felt her anger dissolve into compassion. "I am not her, Dominic. I know that. Logically, I know that." He turned back to face her, vulnerability naked on his face. "But fear is not logical. When I saw you with Cameron, laughing and relaxed in a way you have not been with me lately, I realized what I threw away by pushing you back behind professional walls. The breaking point then stopped pushing me away." Jenna challenged. "Stop deciding what is best for both of us without actually asking what I want. What do you want?" His voice dropped to almost a whisper. Jenna closed the distance between them until only inches separated them. "I want you to stop being afraid. I want you to take the risk. I want you to stop thinking about everything that could go wrong and consider what might go right." Dominic's hand came up to cup her face, his thumb tracing her cheekbone. "If we do this, if we cross this line, everything changes. There is no going back. Maybe I do not want to go back," she breathed. This time, there was no phone call to interrupt, no emergency to pull them apart. Dominic leaned down and captured her lips with his in a kiss that felt like coming home and jumping off a cliff at the same time. It was gentle and fierce, tentative and certain. All at once, Jenna's hands fisted in his shirt as she kissed him back, pouring weeks of frustration and longing into the connection. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. "New territory, we are going to have to be careful," he murmured. "The company has policies about relationships between superiors and subordinates. We will need to be discreet, at least until we figure out how to handle this properly." Jenna nodded, still trying to process that this was actually happening. "So what now?" "Now," he smiled, a real, genuine smile that transformed his entire face. "We take it one day at a time. I date you properly. Dinners, movies, actual conversations that do not involve quarterly earnings reports. That sounds perfect." Jenna smiled back, feeling giddy and terrified and happier than she had been in months. They spent the next hour in his office, not kissing again, but simply talking, holding hands across his desk, planning how to navigate this new reality. When Jenna finally returned to her floor, she knew her expression must have given something away, because Tessa took one look at her and grinned knowingly. That evening, Riley called demanding details. "So did you finally stop pretending there is nothing between you two?" "We kissed," Jenna admitted, unable to keep the smile out of her voice. "And it was perfect, Riley. Scary and perfect, and I have no idea how this is going to work. But I want to try good, because life is too short for playing it safe. Take the risk, honey. He is worth it." As Jenna fell asleep that night, she replayed the kiss in her mind, the feel of Dominic's hands on her face, intensity in his eyes when he looked at her. She had started this job thinking her boss was a gorgeous glacier. Now she had discovered the fire beneath the ice, and she was ready to burn. The secret romance the following weeks were a delicate dance of professional discretion and stolen moments. At work, Jenna and Dominic maintained their boss-assistant dynamic. Though colleagues occasionally noticed the way his hand would linger on hers when passing documents, or how his eyes followed her across the conference room, their real relationship blossomed outside the office. Dominic took her to quiet restaurants in neighboring suburbs where they were unlikely to run into coworkers. They had picnics in parks, went to late-night movie screenings, and spent long evenings at his penthouse apartment talking about everything and nothing. I never knew you were funny. Jenna said one Saturday evening as they cooked dinner together in his kitchen, "You have this whole dry, sarcastic wit that you hide at work." Dominic grinned, chopping vegetables with surprising skill. "Humor does not fit the CEO image. People expect me to be serious and intense all the time. Well, I like this version of you better. The real you." He set down his knife and pulled her close, kissing her softly. "You are the only person who gets to see this version. That makes you pretty special, Miss Brooks." The photograph, their carefully maintained secret, lasted almost 2 months before it all came crashing down. They had been careful, so careful, but one evening after a late dinner, they kissed goodbye in the parking garage of his building. Neither noticed the photographer from a local business gossip blog who had been staking out the building hoping to catch celebrity residents. The photo appeared online the next morning with the headline, "Chicago Tech CEO Dominic Hart in secret romance with employee." The image was clear and undeniable. Dominic's hand tangled in Jenna's hair, her arms wrapped around his neck. Both clearly lost in the moment, Jenna's phone started ringing at 6 in the morning. First Riley, then her mother, then several colleagues. By the time she checked the blog post, it had already been shared hundreds of times across social media. Her hands shook as she called Dominic. "Have you seen it?" "Hey!" "I have." His voice was tense but controlled. "Come to my place. We need to talk before we go into the office." Facing the storm at Dominic's apartment, they found several more articles that popped up during the night. Some were factual reporting, others bordered on scandalous speculation. One article questioned whether Jenna had received preferential treatment due to their relationship. Another implied Dominic had been inappropriate with an employee. "This is bad," Jenna said, scrolling through her phone with mounting dread. "People are saying terrible things. They are calling me a gold digger who seduced her boss for career advancement." Dominic took the phone from her hands and set it aside. "Look at me." When she met his eyes, he continued firmly, "We have done nothing wrong. Yes, I am your superior. But we disclosed our relationship to HR immediately. Remember? We followed every protocol. We have been nothing but professional at work. That does not matter to people who want a scandal. Then we show them the truth." He pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her. "We go into that office together, heads held high, and we make it clear that we are a couple. No hiding, no shame, no apologies." The office reaction walking into Pinnacle Technologies that morning felt like facing a firing squad. The moment they entered the lobby together, conversation stopped. Employees openly stared. Some looked curious, others judgmental, few sympathetic. Dominic kept his hand on the small of Jenna's back as they rode the elevator, a gesture of support and solidarity. When they reached his floor, he did not go to his office. Instead, he called an immediate all-hands meeting. Within 20 minutes, 350 employees packed into the main conference hall and overflow rooms. The energy was electric with speculation and gossip. Tessa gave Jenna an encouraging smile from across the room. Cameron looked confused and slightly hurt. The public declaration Dominic stood at the front of the room, as commanding and confident as always. "I am sure many of you have seen the photos and articles circulating online. Rather than let speculation and rumors control the narrative, I want to address this directly." He paused, looking out at the assembled crowd. "Yes, Jenna Brooks and I are in a relationship. It began 2 months ago, and we have followed every company protocol regarding workplace relationships. We disclosed to HR immediately, and Jenna will be transferring to a different reporting structure to eliminate any conflict of interest." Jenna stood beside him, trying to project confidence even though her knees felt weak. "I know some of you will question the appropriateness of this relationship." Dominic continued. "All I can tell you is that Jenna is one of the most talented, creative, and dedicated people I have ever worked with. She earned every opportunity she has received through merit and hard work. Our personal relationship has not affected her professional standing, nor will it." He turned to look at Jenna, and the tenderness in his expression silenced any doubters. She has also made me a better leader. More approachable, more human, more connected to the people who make this company successful. For that, I am grateful. The merger ultimatum, the office drama, was just beginning to settle when Greg Mitchell, the corporate lawyer, requested an urgent meeting with Dominic. Jenna was included, given that the matter concerned them both. "We have a problem," Greg began without preamble. "Titan Industries has made an offer to acquire Pinnacle Technologies. It is an excellent offer, honestly. It would make you incredibly wealthy and secure the future of everyone in this company." "That sounds positive," Dominic said cautiously. "What is the problem?" "Titan Industries is an extremely conservative organization. They have strict policies about executive conduct and company image. They are concerned about your relationship with Miss Brooks." Jenna felt ice settle in her stomach. "Concerned how?" Greg looked uncomfortable. "They have made it clear that as a condition of the acquisition, they expect a certain level of executive professionalism. They see your relationship as potentially problematic from an optics perspective. An impossible choice. Let me be clear about what they are asking," Dominic said, his voice dangerously quiet. "They want me to end my relationship with Jenna as a condition of this deal. Not explicitly, but yes. That is the implication." Greg slid a document across the desk. "They have also suggested that Miss Brooks might be happier at one of their subsidiary companies in Denver. It would be a promotion, actually, with a significant salary increase." Jenna felt like she had been punched. "They want to separate us by moving me halfway across the country." "It is just an option on the table," Greg said quickly. "I am presenting all the information so you can make an informed decision." After Greg left, Dominic and Jenna sat in heavy silence. The weight of the choice before them was crushing. Accept the deal, secure financial futures for everyone at Pinnacle Technologies, but lose each other. Or reject the deal, stay together, potentially cost the company and its employees a transformative opportunity. The unexpected news that evening. Alone in her apartment, Jenna felt overwhelmingly nauseated. She had been feeling off for a few days, attributing it to stress. But as she counted back weeks in her head, realization dawned with frightening clarity. She went to the pharmacy and bought 3 different pregnancy tests. All 3 came back positive. Jenna sat on her bathroom floor, staring at the little plus signs, trying to process what this meant. She was pregnant. With Dominic's baby. In the middle of the biggest crisis of their relationship, her phone rang. Dominic's name appeared on the screen. She answered, trying to keep her voice steady. "Hey, can I come over? I have been thinking about everything, and I need to talk to you. Actually, I need to talk to you too. There is something you should know." The revelation 20 minutes later. Dominic stood in her small living room, looking at the 3 positive pregnancy tests lined up on her coffee table. His face was unreadable, cycling through shock, confusion, something that might have been hope. "You are pregnant," he said quietly. "About 6 weeks based on timing." Jenna twisted her hands together nervously. "I know the timing is terrible. With the Titan deal and everything happening, this complicates everything even more." Dominic sat down heavily on her couch, still staring at the tests. Then slowly, a smile spread across his face. A real, genuine, joyful smile. "This is not a complication, Jenna. This is a gift." He pulled her into his lap, holding her close. "A baby. Our baby." His hand went to her still flat stomach. "We created a life together." Tears spilled down Jenna's cheeks, relief flooding through her. "You are not upset? Upset?" He kissed her tears away. "I am terrified and thrilled and already madly in love with this little person." He pulled back to look at her seriously. "And this changes everything. I know exactly what I am going to do about the Titan deal." The decision the next morning. Dominic called an emergency board meeting. Jenna waited anxiously in his office as he laid out his decision to the board members. When he returned an hour later, his expression was peaceful. "I turned down the Titan acquisition. The board members were not happy, but they will get over it. I explained that no amount of money is worth sacrificing what truly matters. I also told them I am going to be a father. I refuse to build my child's future on the foundation of abandoning their mother." Jenna threw her arms around him. You chose us. I will always choose us. Every single time. He kissed her deeply, then knelt down and spoke to her stomach. Hello in there, little one. Your daddy just made the easiest decision of his life. The complication a week later. At Jenna's first official ultrasound appointment, they received another surprise. The technician moved the wand over Jenna's belly, squinting at the screen with a curious expression. Well, this is interesting, she said with a smile. Dominic gripped Jenna's hand. Is something wrong? Not wrong at all. Just unexpected. She turned the monitor toward them. Congratulations, you are having twins. Jenna's eyes went wide. Twins, as in 2 babies? 2 healthy babies, the technician confirmed, pointing out 2 distinct shapes on the screen. Both have strong heartbeats. Everything looks perfect. Dominic laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. Twins. We are having twins. He looked at Jenna with wonder. You do not do anything halfway, do you? Planning the future, the news of the pregnancy spread quickly through Pinnacle Technologies after Dominic made a formal announcement. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Colleagues who had been skeptical about their relationship softened when they saw how genuinely happy and committed Dominic and Jenna were. Patricia Hart, Dominic's mother, flew in from Boston the week after they announced the twins. She was a graceful woman in her 60s, with the same gray eyes as her son. So you are the young woman who finally got through to my stubborn son, Patricia said, embracing Jenna warmly. I have been waiting years for him to let someone in again, over dinner at Dominic's penthouse. Patricia shared stories of his childhood, much to his embarrassment and Jenna's delight. She also offered to help with the babies, promising to spend several months in Chicago after they were born. You two are going to need all the help you can get with twins, Patricia said wisely, and I am not getting any younger. I want to enjoy my grandchildren. The proposal on a sunny Saturday in early spring, Dominic took Jenna to Lincoln Park. They walked along the lake, enjoying the warm weather and planning the nursery they would need to set up for the twins. Jenna, there is something I want to ask you, Dominic said, stopping near a beautiful garden area where cherry blossoms were just beginning to bloom. Before Jenna could respond, he got down on one knee, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. The ring inside was stunning, simple diamond solitaire that caught the sunlight perfectly. I know we are doing everything backward, Dominic said with a smile. First came the job, then came the love, then came the pregnancy announcement. But I want to do this part right. Jenna's hands flew to her mouth as tears started flowing. Jenna Brooks. You walked into my life as a voice message gone wrong and became the best thing that ever happened to me. You taught me how to live again, how to feel, how to be human, instead of just a corporate machine. He reached up to wipe away her tears. Will you marry me? Will you build this family with me and let me spend the rest of my life making you laugh? Yes, Jenna sobbed happily. Yes, absolutely yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger and stood, pulling her into a kiss that felt like a promise. Around them, passersby applauded and cheered. A street musician nearby started playing a romantic song. It was perfect and public and everything Jenna never knew she wanted. The ultrasound surprised that, their 20-week ultrasound. They learned they were having a boy and a girl. Dominic was overjoyed, immediately starting to plan how he would protect his daughter from future boyfriends and teach his son to be respectful and kind. This is the best news, he said, holding Jenna close as they left the doctor's office. Ah, a perfect pair. Like us, they named the babies before they were even born. Charlotte Rose for the girl after Dominic's grandmother. Benjamin James for the boy. After Jenna's father, who had passed away years ago, the wedding plans, they decided on a small, intimate wedding before the babies arrived. Just close family and friends at a beautiful garden venue outside the city. Jenna wore a flowing dress that accommodated her growing belly, looking radiant and happy. Riley served as maid of honor, crying through the entire ceremony. I knew from that first voice message that you two were meant to be, she whispered to Jenna before the processional. Even when you were both too stubborn to see it, Patricia walked Dominic down the aisle since his father could not be there. The look of pride and joy on her face said everything. When Dominic saw Jenna walking toward him, his eyes filled with tears. She was beautiful, glowing with pregnancy and happiness, and she was choosing him, choosing their life together. Their vows, were personal and heartfelt. Jenna went first, her voice shaking with emotion. Dominic, you once told me I taught you how to live again. But what you taught me was even more valuable. You taught me that vulnerability is not weakness. It's not letting someone see the real you, flaws and fears and all, is the bravest thing we can do. I promise to always be honest with you, to laugh with you, to support your dreams, and to build this beautiful, chaotic family together. Dominic's vows were equally moving. Jenna, I spent years building walls to protect myself from feeling anything real. You crashed through those walls with a misdirected voice message and a spirit I could not resist. He smiled through his tears. You called me a glacier once. You were right. But you melted that ice and showed me what it means to truly live. I promise to choose you every single day to be the partner you deserve, and to raise our children to be as brave and kind and authentic as their mother. The happy beginning their reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and joy. Even though Jenna could not drink, she felt drunk on happiness. Dominic kept his hand on her belly all evening, feeling the twins kick and move. During their first dance, he whispered in her ear, "Thank you for the accidental voice message. Thank you for seeing through my walls. Thank you for giving me this life." Jenna looked up at him. This man who had seemed so cold and untouchable just months ago, and saw only warmth and love. "Thank you for not firing me," he laughed, that genuine, joyful laugh she loved so much. "Best decision I ever made." As they swayed together, surrounded by friends and family, with 2 babies growing inside her and a future full of possibility ahead, Jenna thought about how one small mistake had led to this perfect moment. Sometimes, the wrong message sent to the wrong person at the wrong time could turn out to be exactly right. Epilogue. 6 months later, Charlotte and Benjamin arrived on a snowy December evening, both healthy and beautiful. Dominic was an absolute mess during the delivery, holding Jenna's hand and crying more than she did. When they placed first Charlotte and then Benjamin in his arms, he looked at them with such pure love that the nurses in the room teared up. The first few months were exhausting and chaotic and perfect. Dominic proved to be a devoted father, changing diapers at 3 in the morning, singing off-key lullabies, and documenting every tiny milestone with photos and videos. Patricia stayed for 3 months, teaching them the basics of twin parenting and sharing her wisdom. Jenna's mother flew in regularly to help. Riley became the favorite aunt, spoiling the babies shamelessly. At work, things had shifted too. Jenna had transitioned to a consulting role that allowed her to work from home most days. Dominic had brought in new leadership to help run Pinnacle Technologies, finally learning to delegate and trust others. He left the office at reasonable hours now, rushing home to his family. One evening, as they sat in the nursery with Charlotte asleep in Jenna's arms and Benjamin in Dominic's, he looked at his wife with complete contentment. "Do you ever think about that voice message? The one that started all of this?" Jenna smiled. "Every day. I was mortified at the time, but now I think it was the best mistake I ever made." "Not a mistake," Dominic corrected gently. "Fate, the universe knowing we needed each other and giving us a push in the right direction through a misdirected voice message. Sometimes fate works in mysterious ways." He leaned over carefully, mindful of the baby in his arms, and kissed her softly. "I love you, Jenna Hart. I love you too," she whispered back. "My gorgeous glacier, who turned out to have the warmest heart." And as they sat together in the soft glow of the nursery lamp, 2 babies sleeping peacefully in their arms, they both knew that every challenge, every moment of uncertainty, every risk they had taken had led them exactly where they were meant to be. Together.